Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Kimberly Wilson. Y'all come on in. Make sure you guys let me know that you are on. Tonight's show is on bullying and victimization. I am going to give you guys the clinical definition of bullying and victimization, and then I'm going to give you guys the street version of bullying and victimization. You guys come on. I'm usually tardy, but tonight I am on time. This is only my second live of the new year. So you guys come on and we're going to talk about it. I also will be giving time to a victim that has been bullied and victimized, that was abused as well. She was bullied for telling her story. So I will be giving this young lady an opportunity to tell her story, as well as anyone else that wants to come on that has been bullied and victimized as well. So y'all come on in, say hello. Hello, Shamika. Welcome, love. Come on. You guys, I'm excited. I have been dealing with my ear. But by God's grace, I am able to come on here. This subject is dear to my heart because while I've been in these YouTube streets, I have seen a lot of bullying, a lot of victimization. And so we're going to come on and we're going to talk about it. I'm about to share the link to my Facebook page. I'm only streaming from YouTube. So give me a minute while I share, and then we're about to get started. Welcome to the show. If you're not familiar, I am Dr. Kimberly Wilson. I am a certified psychology and acute mental health. And tonight's subject is bullying and victimization. So, y'all, give me a second. Let's see. Says I am going to give a brief summary of what bullying and victimization is, and then we're going to hold on, yeah, and then we're going to get started. I hope that all of you guys that are listening to the sound of my voice is doing well. Again, this is on bullying and victimization. We stand against bullying and victimization. Anyone that has ever been through abuse, neglect, or anything that has caused them to become a victim can also be victimized as well. So we're going to talk about it. And we're gonna get started. I'm letting people know that I am live. I'm usually late, y'all. So tonight I am on time. And I did not stream live on Facebook on purpose. Hello. What's the word of today? Hello, Danny. I hope I'm saying you guys' name right. Come on. This is Fixing Your Crown with Dr. Kimberly Wilson. Tonight's topic is bullying and victimization. I am Dr. Kimberly Wilson. I am a psychologist in acute mental health. I will be talking about bullying and victimization. I will give you guys the clinical version, and then I'm going to give you guys the street version. Sometimes you got to give a little both, because sometimes people don't understand one way, so I'm going to give it on both ways so people will understand. Bullying and victimization is not okay. This subject is dear to my heart tonight because I've been in these hold on guys, I've been in these YouTube streets, as well as I see it on Facebook as well, all social media platforms, really. And I've seen a lot of bullying. I've seen a lot of victimization, and it's not okay. Usually we hear about bullying in schools amongst children, but nowadays it has become very prevalent for grown adults to be bullying and victimizing victims. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Um, Also, I am going to allow time. I have a beautiful lady. Also, is not my blood sister, but a sister in love that wants to tell her story. So, you guys, I will be allowing time for anyone that has been bullied, victimized, abused. I will be allowing time for them to tell their stories. So we're gonna get into it. I'm waiting on a few people that was trying to find the link. I had to send the link to them to join, and we're going to get started. I also will give my resume to let you guys know why I am qualified to speak on this, as well as for the YouTube streets and the bush watchers. Also tonight, a lot of my people like to know what I'm drinking. Tonight I'm drinking AU. I don't know if y'all can see it. This light is tripping. But tonight I'm drinking AU. Light tripping, but I'm drinking AU. And it is a birthday gift. So thank you, sis, for my birthday gift with a little bit of lemonade. That is my drink of choice tonight. Don't judge me, judge yourself. So if you know, okay, love, let me get you on here because I definitely don't have no mods. I really haven't been going live on YouTube. I usually go live on Facebook, but I'm trying to build my YouTube audience. Let me go on here and make you a mod, love. I appreciate you. Cause yeah, when the bush watchers come on in here, it is colored. It's called AU. I don't know if y'all can see. I'm gonna sit back a little bit. I got this background. It's a gold. Hold on, y'all. Let me take the background off so y'all can see it. Hold up. Let me take the background off so you guys can see. Here we go. It is colored. This one is strawberry. My sis got this for my Christmas and birthday gift. This one is the strawberry burst. They don't sell it here. She is in Georgia, so she sent it to me. But they don't sell it here in Louisiana. They're a little trashy, honey. They are a little trashy. So there y'all go. It is colored. So it was red. The pineapple one is yellow, blueberry blue, purple, and all of that. Hello, anti-violence. It tastes very good now. It is very strong now. It's very strong. I'm not an everyday drinker. I drink when I want to relax or whatever, but I'm not an everyday drinker because I'm kind of a control freak. And so I don't like to be too far under the influence because I need to be knowing what I know. Anti-violence, thank you so much for joining. You guys, anti-violence is also certified in a lot of stuff. I will let her tell you guys her resume. She also will be joining us to tell us why bullying and victimization is not okay and the impacts that it can have on a victim. Okay, so Again, y'all, I'm about to make you a mod. What's the word? And I appreciate y'all because again, I usually go live just on Facebook only, but y'all know Facebook has came up with the foolery. And so I have over 27,000 people on my page and they are suppressing my content. And so I ain't got time for them no more. Let me go to it. Hold on, yeah. Let me go to it. It tastes really good. If you have, it's expensive though here. I think it's like $45. Shamiko says, how much is it? We definitely do love because I don't know. I haven't been out here, and so I got to build up my page. There you go. I gave it to you. What's the word? She said it's $32 in Vegas. I'm in Bossier City, Louisiana, so I don't know how much it is in you guys' state, but they don't sell it here, and so I have to get her to send it to me because they don't sell it here. Okay, so let's get started. Some more people should be joining us shortly. Again, I will be allowing some time for one of my guests to come on and tell her story. So you guys get show her a lot of love. Anyone else that has been a victim of bullying, victimization, abuse, and just want to tell their story, I will be allowing time for that as well. So I'm gonna tell you guys who I am, just in case you guys don't know. I am Dr. Kimberly Wilson. I'm certified in acute mental health. Acute mental health is I don't like to say diseases. I try to choose my words very correctly. It is a mental illness that deals with schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders. It is the really seriousness of mental health. If you guys yes, please, Danny. That'll be great. To get everybody to come on in here because this is a very touchy subject. We also going to be standing in the gap for our sister Felicia. For those that are out there in the Facebook streets that has been bullying her, I am going to break down why that is not okay, as well as anti-violence is going to come on with her expertise and let people know why it's not okay. You have to be the bottom of the barrel to think that it's okay to bully someone that has been a victim of some of the things she has been through and other victims as well. For another victim to see her being bullied, it can also trigger them. We will talk about that as well. So I have I've lost track of how many degrees I have, but I have an associate's degree in criminal justice. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice human sciences. I have a bachelor's degree a master's degree in criminal justice forensic science. And then when I transferred over to get my doctoral, I have psychology and acute mental health. It's a lot of them. So you guys out there in the bushes that's watching, it is public record. So I'm certified in because I have the resume and I'm certified because of life experiences as well. So don't come for me, come for yourself. Okay. But we're going to talk about all this bullying that has been going on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere that I see it. We're going to address why it's not okay and also how you can be held accountable legally for your behavior because the laws protect people with disabilities. And I don't know how many of you know having a mental illness or being a victim of abuse that has caused some form of mental illness that is considered a disability, and you can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for doing it. So anybody in the bushes, you cannot trick me out of my spot because I know how to get those police involved in your life. So watch, be nice, and come on in. You may learn something. I'm going to let you guys know what a bully is. I'm going to give you guys the medical term for it, and then I'm going to break it down in the hood term for it. Thank you so much. What's the word? I really appreciate you, Queen, because I didn't even have no moderators. I had forgot all about it. Okay, so sophisticated adult bullies may engage in smear campaigns against their targets rather than insult them in their faces. They might also enlist others to bully a target on their behalf. Don't you guys hear that's familiar? Adult bullies, I'm going to say it again, may engage in smear campaigns against their targets rather than insult them in their faces. They might also enlist others to bully a target on their behalf. Bullying is a behavior that has historically been linked to kids on the playground, but it can happen among people of any age and any setting. And I found this statistic to be kind of interesting. Older men, 72%, are more likely to cyberbully than females. So older guys are more likely to bully than females, but we're finding it to be the opposite here on these YouTube streets. So the driving force behind bullying may vary from person to person, but bullies share some common characteristics. Hello, Sabrina Love. Welcome. For an example, some people bully because they know that it gets them what they want, while others bully because they are deeply insecure. That's another topic. No matter the cause, bullying is unacceptable regardless of where it takes place. Bullies often use threats, insults, smear campaigns, or exclusion to intimidate and harm others. Such behavior may stem from insecurity. That insecurity word has came up quite a bit, you guys. So when someone is bullying, they're insecure about something about their self is causing them to become a bully. And I'm going to get into some of those in a few minutes. So, such behavior stems from insecurity, a need of control, a sense of powerlessness, or enjoyment. Whatever the cause, the effects on victims can be serious and potential devastating. So, do you guys know? Hello, TLC Jules. Welcome, love. So, do you guys know that a person that has already been abused, went through something, do you know bullying has and will cause someone to unalive themselves? That's why this bullying and this victimizing, a stop got to occur. Some people need to face jail time. It needs to be some severe penalties for this because it can cause a person to really, really just lose all hope and be so embarrassed and so ashamed to cause them to unalive themselves. So, online bullying, this is what we're talking about. It's a very increased problem, y'all, for females and young people today. The examples of online bullying, y'all know that's something that Felicia is going through. It include posting things about the victim without their permission, including them from their online spaces, spreading false stories about the victim. Bullies victimize others by using tactics including intimidation, threats, insults, intentionally exclusion, spreading rumors and lies. There is no reason why people should bully, but many people engage in it because they feel powerless. We talked about the insecurities has came up, and this is the medical terminology. Need to control others. They enjoy the rewards of bullying, the hee-haw, the funny, and all of that. Most bullies suffer from either being bullied themselves or some past trauma themselves. So that's interesting. You got, hey, Emily, welcome. You have people that are bullying, but you have to question what have they been through themselves. Bullying is taught behavior. As growing up, your basic instinct is to make friends, play nice. You don't know how to become a bully unless you've been around bullies, or bullying is taught at home that it's okay to be a bully. Um, Little kids are so innocent, they don't automatically have a bully bone in their body. They don't. So You have to look at where it comes from. And medically, it says usually a bully has been through something traumatic or is taught behavior or they feel insecure. Those three factors are a determining factor of why. Anti-violence say either they were bullied or experienced childhood trauma themselves and become a bully as adults. Exactly. That's exactly what I just said. And insecurities has came up so much in the medical terminology about it. It's insecure. And for a woman to be bullying another woman, the insecurity stem from either they're jealous of how she looks, jealous of her status, jealous of her job. It can be the smallest little thing to cause a woman to want to bully another woman. And it all stems from insecurities. It all stems from being insecure. Now, despite what you may go through, being a bully is a choice. I'm sure all of us in the chat has been through something that could have caused us to become a bully. Bullying is a choice. I just recently went through something that could have caused me to latch out and bully other women. That's not who I am, though. My job is what the show say, to fix your crown when you're broken. Even in my brokenness, I'm still going to fix your crown because that heals me and helps me. But everybody don't have that mentality. And so when you see that type of stuff, it's not okay to join in. The question needs to be, why are you doing this? What is wrong with you in the inside that you feel it's okay to try to diminish someone else or speak on someone else's experience as being abused, whether it's domestic violence, sexual abuse, whatever the abuse may be? What is wrong with you that has you to a point to laugh and heckle at someone else's misfortune? It comes from something broken. As anti-violence just said, you have experienced some type of childhood trauma yourself or adult trauma that you need to talk about. You need to speak about it. Let's talk about it. So when I see women doing that, I say, you what have you been through as a child? Or what have you been through in your adult life to make you think that it's okay to laugh and talk about another woman or to put her down? What have you been through? And that starts a conversation. I had a young lady I was speaking to the other day was down talking to another lady, and I say, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question? Was that nice of you to say about her, even if you don't agree with her, whatever it may be? Was that nice of you to say about her?" She said, "Well, no." I said, "And another thing, what have you been through in your life, whether when you was a child or an adult, that has caused you to think that hurting someone else is okay?" She began to cry. And then in that moment, she began to reflect on what she's been through. Now, I did talk to her for quite a while. And I began to pray for her and let her know that it's going to be okay. I also gave her a number to someone where she can talk to get her some help. And she's considering coming on the show and telling her story. As women, that's what we need to do instead of gathering around, whispering and talking about each other. Because show as you living, you going to go through something. You going to go through a storm somewhere. And you're going to wish and hope that you had someone to show you mercy and grace. You're going to pray and wish that you had someone to just understand. And so those are some of the statistics. Those are some of the medical terminologies of bullying. I am going to uh, give y'all another explanation of why do people bully. As I said, they feel powerless in their own lives. Someone else is bullying them. They don't know how to regulate their emotions. They have a lack of empathy and understanding. Babies and little kids growing up has natural empathy. For an example, if I'm not feeling too good, my daughter always comforts me. That's a natural ability until the world gets a hold to them and they lose that. They're seeking attention. They may not have gotten attention growing up as a kid, or they may have not gotten attention as an adult, and they think that that type of behavior is going to get them some type of attention. They are jealous of the person they are bullying. I said that earlier. Jealousy will cause a lot. Women are more harder at judging women than men. Why is that? A woman will degrade another woman faster than a man will. Women body shame other women faster than a man will. That's crazy to me. Women body shame other women faster than men do. And as a woman, African American woman, we got to do better. We got to do better. We put each other down more than any other men. I mean, we just got to do better all the way around. We just put each other down way too much. The fear and the insecurity, as anti-violence say, they have their own unresolved trauma. And it goes back to, if you're walking around here and you are broken, if you are, JC said it as its best, jealousy is a female trait. Absolutely, Sabrina. Jealousy is a female trait, but it doesn't have to be your trait. I don't have a jealous bone in my body. If I see a beautiful woman, I say, you're a beautiful queen, or if she's doing great, you're doing a great job, because their turn may not be your turn. We have to wait on our turn and our timing. Our timing is not God's timing. So we have to wait and be patient for our turn. Another person buy a house. It may not be your turn to be a homeowner, but are you going to be jealous and hate on that person because they're a homeowner? It may not be your turn. Or your trifling behind may have messed up your credit. You got to get your credit in order. So don't be jealous. Ask them what they did so you can help yourself to get to where they at. Instead of your first instinct being jealousy. That's why I make sure I'm not a gatekeeper. I always try to pass on knowledge so a person can do their best. I want you to live your best life. We all are in a world where we all can eat. But don't be jealous on the next person. A lot of women are upset because another woman may have a good marriage. Well, if you had not treated that man that you was with before so bad, he made it with a marriage show behind. My point is, we have to look in the mirror and address us first. We have to address what is within us to cause us to behave this way. And also understand timing. And then if you lacking in certain areas, ask somebody. Don't nobody know everything. And we all have gotten places from a little bit of help from somebody. Ask what you don't know so you can get to where you need to get to. Instead of being jealous, confrontational. Absolutely. What's the word? And I like to surround myself with women. I like to sit at the table with women that is either right there with me or above me or trying to get to where I'm at, because I want to pull you along. Let's all eat together. Let's eat together. I love to eat. I love to see my women doing good. I love to see women coming from the bottom, because I started at the bottom. Now I'm here. I didn't grow up in the suburbs. So I got it out the mud, and I love to see my queens get it out the mud. That's why I love to give knowledge. I love to help fix your credit. I love to tell you how to get to where I'm at. Whatever it is that I can do to help you better, to become a better version of yourself, that's what I want to do. If I can give you medical terminology to bless you, then that's what I'm going to do. If you're in need of something, I am not the friend that's going to enable you when you full of shit. If you full of shit, I'm gonna tell you full of shit in love. I'm gonna say, hey sis, now you know that what you did, that was you that one that was off the chain. You full of shit. That you need to do better with that. But they gonna know it's all in love. But our conversation not gonna go, even if we fall out. Our conversation is not gonna go nowhere but where it was. And I've had some friends that our differences was too different for us to remain friends. But they didn't hear about it nowhere else. They didn't hear about their shortcomings or whatever nowhere else. I just ended the relationship. What's the word? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, getting it out the mud. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I had to get it out the mud. I got a lot of student loan debt to show for getting it out the mud. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And so when people try to be judgmental, how dare you? Because you put your pants leg on one leg at a time, just like I do. So how dare you? You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of, and instead of trying to talk about somebody, what have you done to do good for someone on that day? And if you ain't did nothing good for somebody, but you can talk about somebody, you need to analyze your priorities and analyze who you is. We're living in a world, y'all, we don't know when the last days are coming. And so we have to line ourselves up with doing things the right way. And bullying and victimizing someone, as I said, in medically, can cause someone to digress, go into a very deep depression, and can cause them to unalive themselves. And then you face some serious consequences if your bullying has caused someone to unalive themselves. Because the laws are designed to protect people with disabilities. And as I stated earlier, mental health, mental illness is a form of a disability. And if your silly behind is on here cyberbullying someone, and you cause them to unalive themselves, that is a felony. You go to jail, no return, don't pass go. You do not collect $200. You go straight to jail for that, and that is where you belong. That is where you belong. So I'm going to dedicate my platform to awareness. I'm going to dedicate my platform to stopping the cyberbullying that's going on. If I see it, you will be reported. I have a lot of pull. For y'all that don't know, I spent 7 years in law enforcement. So if I see you bullying, I will be reporting you, especially if that person has asked you to leave them alone. It's time for some penalties to be brought on for bullying, because in my line of work, I've saw what it can do to a person, and it's not okay. It will not be tolerated, and it will not happen if I see it. As I said, over in these YouTube streets, what is done, being done to Felicia is not okay, and any other victim that's on here that is being bullied and victimized and shamed for what they may have went through, it's not okay, and it needs to be addressed. Law enforcement needs to be involved, and it's time out for that, because we too grown for that. And everybody shit stink. Everybody got something that they've had to overcome, or is trying to overcome. Anti-violence say sure can. If it's traced back to you for bullying and cyberbullying, that person, they committed suicide, you can be held accountable. You can and you will be. It is a felony to do so. and you don't know what your bullying is causing that person mental space. You are causing that person to relive their trauma that they've been through. It's not okay. And if you have not been a victim of domestic violence, I'm going to use domestic violence first. If you have not been a victim of domestic violence, shut your mouth up. You should not be putting your mouth on anybody that has came out with their story. You have no right to tell them how to feel, what they went through, what they should have did, why they shouldn't have did this. Shut your mouth up, right? If you've never been a victim of sexual abuse, shut your mouth up. You have no right to tell them what they should have worn, what they shouldn't have done. They should have put themselves in a position. You have now victimized them. You're just as worse as the abuser. You're victimizing and victim shaming them. That is never okay to do. If you have never been abused, whether it's verbally, physically, whatever the case might be, it is not okay to put your mouth on a victim that has been done that way. Yes, anti-violence, it causes emotional distress. So if you've never walked down that road, shut your mouth up. And yeah, they say, oh, you shouldn't tell nobody to shut up. Some grown people you have to tell to shut up. Just shut up. If you have not walked a mile in that person's shoes, shut your mouth up. For an example, I've never been sexually abused. So I wouldn't dare tell a person that has been sexually abused on how they feel, how they should feel, how they need to feel. Now, if you're my client, I will give you tools and resources on how to cope. But even then, I still won't tell you how you should feel. Yes, anti-violence. Let me pull it up. Anti-violence asked me to play What Was She Wearing? Let me pull it up. Let me go to YouTube and pull it up. Is it the first video, anti-violence? Thank you so much for this disclaimer. Let me state this disclaimer, Sabrina. Hey, Miss Angela, my Louisiana sister, how are you? Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, and fair use. Also, my commentary, my I gave y'all the medical terms for bullying and victimization. It is not in any way to treat, diagnose anybody. It is for research purposes only and teaching purposes only. Okay? Yes, I'm finna put it on the screen right now. Let me bring it over, y'all. Okay. Okay, y'all, I'm about to show What Was She Wearing? Anti-violence asked me to play this, so I am about to show this right now. Is this the right one, anti-violence? Also, after this, y'all, we will be letting the guest come up. She will be sharing her story of abuse. You guys show her some love. And then that will be the time for anyone else to come up. If you guys have any questions for me or anti-violence, if you guys are needing any resources, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. Anti-violence, if you want to come up as well, I will drop the link. Okay, she about to share the link. Okay, love. I will wait on you because I don't know what this one was. Also, while you doing that, I'm about to drop the link. That is the link. Because they had several one of, let me see. Yeah, this one says it's an educational resource used nationally to train teachers and educate about sexual assault. I don't know if that's the right one though. Thank y'all so much for coming on, joining me. If you know anyone that wants to get on the second part of the show and tell their story, please tell them to get over here. We will have the resources. Also, we have the National Domestic Violence Hotline. If you know anyone that needs to get out, anti-violence have some resources. I also have some resources as well. Bullying, if you know anyone that is being bullied, you can dial 988, press 3, and report the bullying. That's for adults as well as children. But we finding more adults are bullying than the children. Now, you know that's ridiculous. Okay, what were you wearing? A project to end victim blaming. Okay, let me type that in. You said, what are you wearing? A project. You said to end. Y'all, I done put my nails on and can barely type. Victim blaming. Okay, let's see. This one right here.
I would disassociate myself from the nightly encounters and focus on the wind chime in the backyard. The wind chime brought me peace.
He came over to hang out and wouldn't stop even after I said no. I thought I could trust him.
I don't think I can ever love correctly again. He was supposed to be my boyfriend.
An older friend forced himself on me while I waited for my mom to pick me up. I was so ashamed. I went home and tried to kill myself by overdosing.
I said, "Stop. I need to go home now. Please get off." Over and over.
I was with a friend at a bar and he gave me a drink. The next thing I remember is him being on top of me. The police couldn't prove it wasn't consensual. Now I am the one left to feel as if I did something wrong.
I was with a friend at a wedding. An older high school boy asked me to go for a ride in his car. He took me to his friend's house where the assault happened. Then he took me back to the wedding and dropped me off like nothing happened. Most of my life, I thought it was my fault because I got in his car.
Two guys were messing with my friend at a bar on New Year's Eve. We tried to leave, but they grabbed me and groped me before we could get out. I didn't know how to stop them, so I just let them.
We were snowmobiling. I was driving. My cousin's husband was sitting behind me. He kept grabbing my breasts and crotch, insisting he needed to hang on. I told him to stop several times. 40 years later, I never told my family.
He took advantage of the fact that I was 16 and manipulated me. He dared me to drink vodka, which, being young, I couldn't resist. I passed out and woke up with him on top of me. I didn't stop him. I knew I was helpless. I asked him to use a condom before I passed out again. The next time I woke up was when he was shoving me out of the car in front of my house.
My babysitter had a new game she wanted to play with me. She said she knew I would love it. Afterwards, she threatened and coerced me into silence. Over 30 years later, and I still haven't told a soul.
He was my boyfriend at the time, and I was blackout drunk. He had the audacity to tell me it was the best sex we ever had the morning after. It took me years to stop blaming myself and call it what it was: rape. Just because someone is your partner doesn't mean they have access to your body whenever they want. And just because you may have been intoxicated doesn't mean it's your fault.
I was molested in a car by my cross-country captain while another team member held my arms down. After a year of being afraid, I told my school. He admitted to it. Then they asked me what I was wearing and pointed out that I flirted with him in a text a few times. He had no consequences. I felt like it was my fault.
All right, child. Bear with me. I'm trying to see is the person that wanted to come on, is she? Okay, she had an answer, so I'm gonna continue on. Now, wow, that video, thank you for that one, anti-violence. That gives you an indication of what victims go through, and how victimizing can take place. You'll say you did this, but you shouldn't have done this. No matter what a person do, okay, she's coming up. Give me a minute, guys. No matter what a person do, he or she does not deserve to be violated in any way. Again, I repeat, no matter what a person do, a female or a male does not deserve to be violated in any way. All right, guys, we're going to welcome Shamiko to the stage. She has been abused. I'm gonna allow her to tell her story. Y'all, please show her some love, give her some grace. Sis, can you hear me? Shake your mic because we can't hear you. Can y'all hear her? Because I can't. Sis, say something because I can't hear you. Y'all put in the chat on whether y'all can hear her or not, and I just can't hear her, but I can't hear her. Shamiko, are you there? TLC say no, I can't hear. You can't hear. Shamiko, go out and come back on. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to remove you, and then I'm going to drop the link again. Go out and come back in. Give your mic permission as well. You may have not given your mic permission, and so I can't hear you. Shamiko, can you hear me now? Oh, she probably finna go back out and come back in, y'all. Anti-violence, grab the link for me and see can I hear you. Yeah, we waiting on Shamiko to grab the link and come back on. Anti-violence, if you still on, grab the link for me and talk to make sure I can hear you. Hey, Jasmine Love. Thank y'all so much for y'all likes. I appreciate you guys. And from now on, even our jury live, I will make sure it's only on YouTube. She's about to grab the link again. I let her know she did not have to be on camera. Guys, if you come up and you want to tell your story, you do not have to cam up. You can just have your voice if that's all you want, or if you don't want to come on at all, you want to call me on the phone, tell your story. If you need me to narrate it for you, whatever it is that you need, I can do. On the last show, I narrated a doctor's story of his abuse. And so you guys do not have to come on, whatever you comfortable with. It is okay. I pray that all of you guys are doing well. All right, let's see. Shamiko sis, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, she's on, guys. As I stated, her name is Shamiko. Uh, we are going to allow her to tell her story. The bush watchers, do not come on and be disrespectful at all. What's the word? If someone comes on and they're disrespectful, remove them immediately. Show her a lot of grace because it takes a lot of courage to get up and tell what happened to you. I am going to mute myself, Shamiko sis, and you have the floor. And before you begin, just know I love you and I'm here if you need me to chime in at any time. Shamiko, you have the floor.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello?
We here.
Okay. It took me a big step to do this. And that's why y'all hear my voice cracking. Because I started crying. But for any woman out there that's going through any type of abuse, whether it's your boyfriend, your husband, it could even be your family, your friends, as close as your parents. Just know that it is help out there because that is what I went through. Back in the day when crack hit the scene, I'm ashamed to say both of my parents, they indulged. During that time, my father, who it took me a very long time to forgive and to forget and move on, he crossed the line. And I thought that if I told it, I was going to get in trouble. But then I kept saying, something's not right, something's not right. So when I did tell, I got told, no, that never would happen. I'm fast. I like boys. I did something. And I was like, okay. So I took it a step further, excuse me, and took it to my grandmother. And she was the one that took me to the hospital and got everything confirmed and said, yes, it did happen. And was very upset because my mom didn't believe me. And with that being said, me and my mom, we still not as tight as we should be because of a lot of things has happened over the years of her being my mother, even as me being grown. Because I always felt, even though after all that, she was still my mother. And I'm not supposed to disrespect her. I'm supposed to be there. And that's when it came into my eyes as I was only being used because she knew the type of love I had for her. And good news out of this story is my father is clean and has been clean over 10 years now. But it's my mother still struggling with this battle. That's what makes our relationship not as good as it should be. Because as I was saying, I feel used. And I feel the best thing for me is just to stay away. Because I was raised that way. Don't disrespect, don't talk back. So no, I don't get disrespectful. I'll just back. That includes even I have a brother there in Louisiana. If I feel like me and him have crossed paths the wrong way, I would do the same thing to him. Anyone I feel that you're saying something wrong to me, or I feel you don't really understand what I'm saying, I tends to cut you off. Not literally. Just stand back and just be quiet because it's already enough that I've already been through. Then on top of that, I've lost a child. I buried three, but now I only have two living, and one died in 2016 in a horrible car accident, rollover and everything. My son was ejected at 15 years old. That has also been a part of my disability because at that point, that is when they legally disabled me because my pelvic was messed up. I was pent in the ride. My back got messed up and also my neck. And as I heard the stories of what happened, I felt so bad. And I blamed myself and said, that I don't understand, why did that happen? Why did God have to take him? He could have took me. He was only 15 years old. And I'm still dealing with it. It's almost about to be 10 years. And it still feels like it just happens. So, ladies, if some one of you are out there listening and feel like it's okay, it's not. Because as you heard me say, it can go through your family, as close as your parents, your friends, your siblings. Don't allow it. And it's not just physical abuse, it's also verbal abuse. And then that it gets so bad to mental abuse that messes with you, which I also have went through that. But strongly standing and saying, no, I'm not claiming it. I know I'm not crazy. I know I have been through a lot. And I'm thankful that God is allowing me to be on this platform tonight to tell this story. And I hope it helps someone dearly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sis, for your truth. I just have one question for you. When you say he crossed the line, what exactly do you mean?
I was raped and silently raped by my own father that told me that it was the crack that made him do it. I knew something wasn't right. And as I said, it took years and years of me to actually forgive him, but mainly for me to heal. Because as I was holding it, it was getting worse and worse. I couldn't even stand the sight of him. I wouldn't even let my kids go around him. That's just how bad it was. But I had to tell and realize to myself, that's not right. My kids don't know what happened. They don't deserve that. That's their grandfather. And if he can get his life together and change his whole demeanor, why not give him another chance? And I did, and I have. And at this day, we are in tune. We chat, we laugh, we talk, and we're in touch with each other. More better than the relationship with me and my mom.
And that's awesome that you were able to show him grace, walk in the spirit of forgiveness. That's very hard for a victim to do. And for you to forgive him first and then still be able to have somewhat of a relationship with him shows the type of person that you are. Also, have you ever talked to your father about what he has done to you and how it made you feel as a child?
Yes. Excuse me again. And as I said, he's been very, very, very forgiving and asking me to forgive and telling me he's so sorry. He's apologized to me, I know, numerous of times. But as I said, I had to get within myself to say, okay, it's time. Go ahead on and accept it. Because it was at a point you asked me about my daddy. I said, I don't have a dad. But now I gracefully say, yes, I have a father. He's living, he's clean, he's remarried, he's doing very great. But as I stated earlier, the storm is still my mama.
I salute you, my beautiful sister. You have some queens in the audience showing you some love. Miss Sabrina, uh, Amira Hayes, they are showing you some love. It takes a lot of courage to get up and speak your story, especially on a family member, your father. Um, Also, anti-violence. I would like for you to get some resources available for our beautiful sister in Georgia. If she's ever needing to reach out to someone, she has me. But also, if I'm not available, if she wants to speak to someone in Georgia, could you get some resources for me if you can, please? Do anyone in the audience have any questions for Shamiko before she goes? And I thank you, sis, for coming on and trusting my platform with your story. You know I love you to the moon and back. And it's if it's anything that you need, 24 hours, 7 days a week, I'm always here. Um, but I want you to know it's not your fault for what you've been through, and the grace in you is giving him another opportunity into your life. I just have one more question. If you had girls, would you feel comfortable, even though you guys have repaired your relationship, would you feel comfortable with leaving him with your daughter?
At first, as I said, I wasn't even comfortable with him being around my sons. But as I said, as I have forgave, that means if I would have had daughters, no. Not until I got the peace that I finally have gotten to say, okay, it's okay. Because I was still scared, even being grown. I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but then I didn't know. Well, what if something happens? Well, what if something gets said to me the wrong way? So I just kind of kept myself back until I felt comfortable enough and strong enough to go around and not feel like any of that was going to ever occur again. So in the beginning, no. But as the healing has went on, yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Anti-violence is getting you some information, sis. If you ever feel like you need to reach out, and if I'm not available, whatever it may be, whether it is for more or I know you've came to terms and forgave your father, but if you ever in need and you feeling like you are overwhelmed and you need to reach out, she is gathering some resources for you so that you can do so and you'll never feel like you're alone. I stand in the gap with you. As I stated, on any day you feel like the storm is too much, we stand 10 toes down. I am here for you always.
And I love you for that.
I love you back. When you get opportunity, read the chat. These queens in the chat are giving you some words of encouragement, uplifting you, and we are all here for you. And thank you again for trusting fixing your crown. Um, and if you have any questions for me and anti-violence, please don't hesitate to ask. And thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Y'all too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, y'all. As y'all hear, this queen has overcame so much. I'm finna put my email right in here. Yes, Destiny, and then I want you to go in there and get in the bed. Here. That's what I need you to do. I want you to go in there and get in the bed. That's what I need you to do. Love you too. As you guys see, that is my email address, anti-violence. As you guys see, this queen has overcame so much. She's overcame the abuse of her father, the sexual abuse of her father. She's overcame drug addiction with her parents, happened to grow up in a drug infested environment. And then she's also overcame the loss of her son, that was 15 years old. Lost him in a very, very bad motor vehicle accident. So she's had to overcome several traumas. She's had to overcome sexual assault by the hands of someone that she loved, a parent. That's very hard. Um, she's also had to overcome grief, the loss of a child. To lose a child is very, very hard. For anyone that is in the chat that has lost a child, I'm sending you extra love, extra hearts. She lost her son at 15 years old in a motor vehicle accident. He was the only one that passed away in that accident. As she stated, she had severe injuries that has caused her to be disabled. So every time she looks at her injuries, she's reminded of that day. She's had to overcome that trauma, as well as happen to hold in her story and still see her mom suffering from addiction. And so she definitely needs good people around her, grace, non-judgmental, and all of that. And it helps to have people around you when you've been through storms like that, that is going to encourage you, that's going to uplift you, and also point you in a direction to get the help that you most definitely will need at certain times around holidays, death anniversaries, etc., etc. It gets a little tough. So, has anyone in the chat lost a child or have been sexually abused by a parent in the chat that would like to share? I lost a child. However, it was not on the magnitude of how she has lost a child. My child was not alive at birth, uh, and so that tore me apart. So I can only imagine giving birth, raising your child, and then they pass away. I can only imagine that. So, uh, yeah, that has to be hard, and I appreciate her coming to share her story. But as I said, um, everybody has been through something. Some are lesser than others, some more than others. But we all have a story to tell. And that's where it comes. She said, thank you guys for the prayers and the love. Miss Shamiko said, thank you guys for all of your prayers and all of your love. Um, that's where we have to show each other's grace, especially as women. When you see someone suffering or going through something, um, help fix their crown. Let them know it's going to be okay. Point them in a direction so that they can be okay. Many a times we get up with mask on. What I mean by mask is you pretend to be something that you're not. A lot of times we have to will ourselves just to get up and show up. A lot of times we've been through something so egregious that we have to pretend to be okay, smile behind crying. Those are masks that we've put on. But when we begin to peel back those masks, the problem is going to still be there. So that's why it's important to seek help, because those masks, you're going to just have to keep putting on mask after mask after mask, but the problem is still going to be there. Anti-violence, do you have anything to say about this beautiful queen that came up and shared her story, to give some advice to someone that has been violated by a family member, such as a parent, and also the loss of a child?
Ooh, that's a difficult for one for me. Um, I understand forgiveness. However, I don't see how she still has. For me, reconciliation wouldn't be possible. It's just there's just no way. I'm wondering if she has been in therapy to help her process the trauma that she dealt with the sexual abuse, as well as the grief of the loss of her son. Do you know that?
No, she has not been in therapy for her father, but she is in therapy for her son. Um, Mar, she struggles around holidays. She struggles around the anniversary of his death. Um, and it really impacts her a lot. But I don't think she's mentioned that she's been in therapy for the sexual abuse.
Well, that would be something that I would advise her to do, is to really talk to someone and process with them what happened to her in her childhood. I was going to type it in the chat when you had mentioned it. Like I said, I have experienced both domestic and sexual violence, and so that's why I have such a passion for helping victims, and have a pretty good discernment on picking up when people are telling their stories. Um, about what happened to them. I can pick up on the signs, but just growing up, I never had a parent that I really experienced sexual abuse, or any family member. However, a lot of people don't know that fondling somebody or groping somebody's sexual body parts is also considered sexual assault or sexual battery, and so I experienced that as a teenager, by one of my brother's adult friends who was much older than me. He was in his 30s, and I never told anyone. So, um, just like I said, my advice to her is, I think us as African Americans, and even with me, I have a very strong spiritual life. And so we think that we could deal with these things on our own, and we keep those things bottled up in our lives. And a lot of people in our community look at therapy as a bad thing when it's really not. Um,
Mhm.
we need to understand that when we experience traumatic events like that, it's important to have therapists that can, walk us through that, validate us, give us the support that we need, and can help us through our healing journey. I mean, because it does affect our overall health and our wellness. When we are not well, spiritually, mentally, and things like that, it affects our physical well being. And so that would be my advice is for her to consider maybe talking through what she experienced with a licensed therapist.
Right. She says she's mainly in counseling for Mar, her son that passed away. And then her dad comes up sometimes. So when I asked her a question, she said yes and no. So as I stated, I believe that the therapy is tailored more for her grieving, for her son, and then the sexual abuse kind of comes up in some of the segments, but not as much as it should be. I don't
I
believe in jumbling the two. I think on one now, every therapist do things differently, but um, grief counseling is going to be different than sexual abuse counseling.
Yes, I agree. And I know some counselors out there is not even really trauma informed trained, and they don't have that specialty to train. I mean, to counsel somebody that's been through domestic or sexual violence. Because I just know some people don't deal with that. But yeah, so I would agree with you. I wouldn't jumble the two, but I would definitely speak to somebody specifically in the domestic or sexual violence field, um, to walk her through that, and you know, I had questions of like, where is her? I know she said she has a relationship with him today, but like, where's her boundaries with
I'm
their
telling her to come
relationship?
back now, anti-violence. I told her you guys had some questions, especially you, so that you can be able to help give her the information she needs. I'm telling her to come back now in the chat because I had that's why I wanted her to say what did he do when he crossed the line, because I think it's important to say what happened, because cross the line can mean several things. um and so I wanted her to openly say what it was that he did to violate her, and moving forward. She is on her way back to the chat, so we'll be able to ask her that. Um, it takes a. I've never been a victim of sexual, as I said, sexual abuse. I am specialized and trained in domestic violence and sexual abuse. I can say this though. Um, I actually passed those cases off to one of my other friends that's in the field that specialize more in that, because when you're a therapist, if it's something that makes you uncomfortable, do not do it because you will not be able to help the client properly. And because it's something that is one of my vices, which means if it happened to me or my daughter, especially my daughter, I'm going to go apeshit crazy and probably end up in jail. And so I can absolutely not hear a child being sexually violated. So that is one of my niches. And so domestic violence, I can do that with a charm. But sexual battery, especially if it's a child, it is hard for me to remove my personal feelings out of it. So I steer clear of those.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's aware or not. I'm trying to do it at the same time having a conversation, but I know with my organization, the social workers that we have there that are qualified to counsel, and our other clinical therapists there are specifically trained in trauma informed practices in domestic and sexual violence. So I always think that it's best for people that has experienced domestic or sexual violence to go see a therapist that is specifically trained in those things that and have to do continuing educational practices um, specifically for what they um, the trauma that they have experienced. So,
I agree. I agree. And if it's something that bothers you, where you when you in a certain type of field, you have to remove any personal feelings out of it. And if you aren't able to differentiate those feelings, it's not something that you want to specialize in. So you want to start clear from any certification because on that continuous certification, as anti-violence said, because that's just something that's hard for you to do. And so when it's time to go to Baton Rouge and get recertified, uh, in sexual abuse, sexual assault, especially with adolescents, you have to, it's different certifications in order to see adults and adolescents, and pediatric patients. If you have a certain type of niche, you don't need to go get certified for uh pediatric patients or adolescent patients in that field. And that's just something that I have stirred clear. Now, if it's something of the mind, like if they're dealing with multiple personalities disorders, now I have all the certification in the world, or schizophrenia, or manic, bipolar, whatever the case might be. Then I'm your doctor. But sexual assault, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail quick.
and you know what? I have it's quite interesting when I took on this position. I don't know if I ever told you
Hold on,
before.
real quick,
Uh,
anti-violence. I hate to interrupt you. I apologize, but she is in the chat. She was getting ready to go to bed, and I told her to come in because you had a question for her. She says she's here, so there she goes.
oh, I just wanted to make sure that she was safe. I'm typing it in the chat.
Okay. Shamiko, see, oh, she done came back on. She done popped back on. I'm gonna put her on the stage, then I guess she can
Okay.
answer it for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna
All
mute
right.
myself.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
All right, how are you?
I am great. So I'm on YouTube. I'm anti-violence. I don't really give out my actual name just because of the level of work I do now. Kim, because she is a psychologist, I would be more than happy to give her my personal information, and anyone that she thinks would need any kind of resources or anything, she could certainly pass my information on. But I don't have my real name there just because the level of bullying and cyberbullying and things like that and doxing that I've seen on social media, especially YouTube, as well as the organization that I do work at. We do also have a safe house, and so a lot of the survivors that we have there deal with some very dangerous people. And so I try to keep my information as private as possible. But I just wanted to ask you how you felt about having a relationship with your dad now, knowing what he did to you, and what your personal boundaries looks like, um, even after you've forgiven him. Because I feel like there should still be a certain level of boundaries there for you physically and emotionally, considering what happened.
And it is. I'm very picky about the hugging. I'll kind of like stand back and I have to grab hold to myself and say, no, 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 that's not going to happen. So it's still there, but I just try to act like it's not because I did allow him to tell me that he forgave me and I did allow him to come back in. But of course, I still have a big gate around myself.
And are the interactions that you have with him at all, is it triggering for you to try to have a relationship with him after what happened?
Yes, ma'am, it was. And it is that sometimes. But like I think I should really say I ran away. That's why I'm not at home anymore. That's why I relocated myself. I felt
So so you don't
over.
live close to him?
No, ma'am.
All right, good. Good, good, good. Because I also want to, that's another thing I do as an advocate. I always want to make sure that people are safe. And I was telling Kim, I don't know if you heard her, but sexual violence can, certainly cause survivors to have lifelong um, issues in many different ways. And I certainly would love to get you connected to somebody that specializes in the field, that could possibly help you process things and work through with what you're going through. I know most domestic violence and sexual violence um, organizations, we're not like, we give victims the opportunity to seek justice, but that's not like something that we push because
Right,
we realize from all of our training, the more that you keep asking a survivor to keep retelling their story, it could be extremely re-victimizing for them. And so some people just choose not to go the justice route.
right,
Just because the court and all those other things can be extremely re-victimizing to them, but they do seek services such as EMDR therapy and things like that to help them live a better quality of life. Because as we know, that kind of trauma can also certainly have a impact on your physical health as well.
right.
And so I think that's all I have for you. So I
Okay.
will get Kim some resources for you in your area. What state are you in? Did you say you're in Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What I will do is I will get with my contacts and get you some information that is local there to you. Because you're in Georgia, I'm in Ohio, but
Okay.
I have resources all over the country. So
Okay.
yeah. But it was nice speaking to you.
You as
And you have
well.
a wonderful evening.
And thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thanks, sis, for coming back on. Go ahead and get you some rest. We appreciate you, and we most certainly will be continuing to send you prayers. And again, if you need anything, you can reach out at any time. And once anti-violence send that information to me, I'll get it right over to you.
Okay. Thank you all again.
All righty. Have a good
And
night.
good night.
Bye bye.
And so then, Kim, I just wanted to kind of talk about, we talk a lot about victimization and re-victimization of survivors. Um, and I think I heard you say this earlier today. Everybody on YouTube somehow thinks that they can Google things on the internet, and then they form some kind of opinion about it. And I would just really encourage people in the chat and who's listening to this, please don't be listening to people on YouTube that's just some regular content creator, because I've been hearing a lot of false information out there, And it's just disheartening to hear that because it can be extremely damaging to survivors of domestic and sexual violence. And just to let you guys know that re-victimization of survivors of domestic and sexual violence can happen in various ways. It can be intentional or unintentional. And you could do that by minimizing or dismissing their experience. When people downplay the severity of the abuse or suggest that the survivor is overreacting, it can invalidate their feelings and experiences, or saying things like, you just need to get over it, or you should be over that by now. Um, to me, when people make statements like that, is very clear to me that they're not trauma informed trained. Because anybody that's trauma informed trained would never make a statement like that to a survivor.
Right.
Blaming the victim can also cause re-victimization, suggesting that the survivor somehow was responsible for their abuse or the crime that was committed against them, either through their actions or choices, can reinforce feelings of guilt and shame for people. And then this is a huge one for me, and that's why I love being a support as an advocate, because a lack of support is one of those things that can re-victimize survivors. So me just being able to, if they want me to go talk to law enforcement for them, with them, if they want me to go to doctor's appointments, I do hospital advocacy whenever they're victimized. If it's a sexual assault, I do show up at the hospital to support them and to give them the resources available to them, and just let them know what their rights are. Um, and so, failing to provide emotional support or understanding can leave a survivor feeling isolated and misunderstood. Um, and the next one is what I was concerned with your caller, Kim, is the re-exposure to the abuser can be re-victimizing. Situations where survivors are um, in interactions with their abusers, such as family gatherings or legal proceedings, can be highly triggering. Um, and number five, insensitive comments or jokes. Making jokes about abuse or using language that trivializes their experiences can be hurtful. And then also number six, I have there not respecting a survivor's personal boundaries, whether that be physical, emotional, can recreate feelings of powerlessness and lack of control. And when I say not respecting a survivor's personal boundaries, such as physical, I know when I go out and do consent presentations, consent does not just apply to sex.
Right.
Consent pretty much applies to anything. And so, if you've never been trauma informed trained, you might not realize that a person that has experienced domestic violence or sexual violence may be they can get triggered by you attempting to give them a hug. And so, it's always um, good practices to ask someone, is it okay if you can if I can give you a hug, and then allow them to make the decision on whether they want to give you consent to hug them, because unfortunately most people don't realize that just hugging a survivor can be very triggering for them.
Yes, and I heard her say when he wants to hug her, it's kind of hard. She still has that wall up.
Yes, so yeah, so I mean, it's a lot to it. Like, we could go on and we can have conversations about this stuff. We could talk about what could be re-triggering and re-traumatizing to survivors until we blue in the face. Like, every
Mhm.
year, I have to have a tons of training, of continuing education. So I have both a credential as a credentialed advocate on the national level, which requires 40 hours of training, and as well as I have my state level as a registered advocate. Both of those require continuing education hours. Plus, I am required to do 40 hours a year with my organization. And so I I just say be very careful and mindful of what you say to people, because a great deal of people in the United States have experienced some form of trauma. And we don't look at the fact that us as African Americans have experienced historical trauma,
Yes.
from slavery, as well as systematic trauma. Um, and so that just compounds on someone might have experienced sexual and domestic violence. So just really, you could easily Google or learn about trauma informed practices, and just really being gentle with people. And
That's key. And then also to piggyback off what you're saying, anti-violence, um, PTSD, a lot of people think PTSD is only attributed to our men and women in that's army or navy or overseas. PTSD, post-traumatic stress, can happen to you any altering life experience that causes you trauma can cause you to have PTSD. I don't care what profession you have, whatever you think you may know, you can have PTSD. For an example, me and my daughter was involved in a very bad automobile accident. 18 wheeler hit us. She had a very bad concussion. I had a broken shoulder, slip disc, along with other array of injuries. And for a very long time, I was afraid to drive on the freeway. If an 18 wheeler come around, I will have a panic attack. I am trained and certified in post traumatic stress, and I knew immediately what it was. So just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean I don't have to see a therapist. So I end up having to go and tell my therapist, look, I'm having anxiety. I do not drive on the freeway, will not do it, can't do it. So I end up having to take medication for that. So, what is not okay is knowing that something is wrong in victimizing your family to put up with your behavior, um, your outbursts. Love yourself enough first, and then love your family and the people that care about you enough to go and get help. As anti violence said, in our community, especially the African American community, um, the stigma is you're crazy if you go and sit down and talk to someone. Know what is crazy if you knowing that you need help and you don't go and seek help and you end up hurting someone in the process, hurting your loved ones or hurting someone, spazzing out or whatever they call it. That's when it becomes not okay. But PTSD is not just attributed to the troops. You can get it from any life altering thing that happens to you. It can be a death, it can be sexual abuse, domestic violence, whatever the case might be. You can have post traumatic stress where it'll be hard for you to go outside or do your normal activities.
or as the younger adults on the college campuses that I go on, and they think this is funny, and it's really not funny to me. And I try to have conversations with them. They either say crashing out or uh, they'll call that person unhinged.
Yeah, that's those the words. Yeah.
And I'm like, they are clearly suffering from that. Something has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the things that one of my mentors taught me. We need to shift from a mind frame of what's wrong to you to what's happened to you. Because when a person is, whatever you want to call it, crashing out, they're acting with unnormal behavior, there has something has happened there in their life that has caused them to help act that way,
Mm-hmm.
and they really need to go to therapy. Like I push that a lot with my family, like just telling them like, listen, even my male cousins, when I have conversation, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be offensive, I hope you don't take this wrong way, but hey, it ain't nothing wrong with you going to therapy.
Right. And therapy is not something, just like we go to the doctor if we have a toothache, the dentist we have a toothache, high blood pressure, we go to the doctor. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. um, a poor mental health can cause you to have poor physical health.
Ex-
um, and a lot of people don't realize they go hand in hand, and your mental health is just as important as your physical health, because if you're not in your right state of mind, you're not going to be in the right state of mind to make good choices to take care of your physical health, as taking your medication if you got high blood pressure, making sure you eat the right things, um, making sure that you're not indulging into any activity like drug abuse, uh, alcoholism. All of that is contributed to your mental health and mental illness. Mental illness doesn't mean something you can't overcome certain things. It just mean at that time you need to go and seek you some help. And help doesn't mean that you're crazy. The stigma as anti-violence say unhinged, or it's another term, batshit crazy or whatever. It doesn't mean that. It just means at that time your chemical imbalance is off, and you need to go seek help before you hurt yourself or you hurt someone else. Um, when you are in our field, and I'm speaking of me and anti-violence, you begin when you meet people, you've automatically assessed them. When someone talks to me, I can automatically tell if they're dealing with a form of bipolar, manic, and because you've been trained so much, it's hard to turn it off. So you in your head like, oh my God, how can I approach them and tell them, you know what I'm saying? You automatically thinking, how can you help this person? Because you're hearing it. And it's a lot of people going around that is bipolar, manic. And bipolar is a serious chemical imbalance of the brain, and it cannot be helped, especially if you're in your manic phase without medication. And if you're in a serious manic episode, you can harm yourself or others. That is serious. It's nothing to play with. And that chemical imbalance is serious. And you have some serious high highs and some very low lows. Go ahead, antivirus.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you ever deal with, because I know we have been doing a lot of training on that as well. I don't think a lot of people realize too, like having experienced domestic violence or um, sexual violence can cause you to have a TBI. So, have you dealt with or uh, counseled individuals with TBIs?
Explain to the audience. Me and you both know what it
A
is, but
traumatic
explain to
brain
them.
injury.
Yeah. Say it again.
A traumatic brain injury.
There you go. What she means by TBI is a traumatic brain injury. I have had several clients. They're trying to get us out of the wording of patients. So now we are advised to say clients. Um, I've had several clients with traumatic brain injuries, as well as strangulation, a loss of oxygen for a certain amount of time can also cause that as well. And it can cause you to be manic because of that depriving of oxygen can cause that chemical imbalance in the brain. So I have had several clients that did not have that issue, but because of the lack of oxygen to their brain, it has now caused them to have a severe manic episode. Um,
And that was good that you brought up the strangulation, because in my field we talk about strangulation a lot, and I've even heard a conversation on YouTube where it was some ladies discussing that they like to be strangled, and I'm gonna tell you, ladies, stop letting people strangle you, because you could be killed in minutes.
It also is not a good feeling. If you guys know my story, you go back and look at Felicia's live. I was strangled. I had a problem with speaking. Um, my throat was very sore. So it is a very, very hard strangulation. It's not a joke. It's not something to be taken lightly. It has your neck really, really sore, but to each his own. But as anti-violence say, it is nothing to play with. I know a lot of people like that asphyxiation mess when it involves sex. I don't want it if it's gonna hurt. But to each his own. But if it's gonna hurt, you can have that. But it is not something to play with. If you've been a victim of strangulation, um, it's a lingering issue even after you've been strangled. You go through the soreness, you can lose your voice, hurt to eat, swallow, all of that. And depending on how long you was strangled, and if you lose consciousness, it could deprive your brain of oxygen. So it's a very serious matter, and it's not something to be taken lightly. If someone is playing with you, strangling you, get away from them as soon as possible, because you don't want anyone that's going to play with you like that.
It is so prevalent that in most states, strangulation is now a felony. And in domestic violence, they say if that person strangles you, they're 700 times more likely to kill you.
That is the case, and it's two separate charges. If you try to strangle someone, during a domestic violence dispute, they're going to give you domestic violence, and your second charge will be strangulation. 9 out of 10, you can go and drop the domestic violence charges, but the state is going to pick up the strangulation because it's a felon in most states. Now, some of the states are a little bit behind. Louisiana is one of them, but Louisiana also do separate charges for domestic violence, and you have a separate charge of strangulation. And if you reconcile with the person that's done it, that's your business. I don't judge, but just know if you go and drop the charges, the state will pick up the strangulation, because strangulation is an attempt to unalive you. Okay, it's an attempt to unalive you, and you're behind. More likely, it's going to jail.
And I know in my county, you ain't dropping anything. You ain't dropping the domestic violence, no, any of that, because our prosecutor's office is going to pick it up.
Yes. Yes. I learned Bossier City does that as well. You can go in there and say, hey, I don't wish that this person goes to jail, whatever. If they got strangulation, the state is going to pick it up. And please don't have any priors. If you have some priors, you're going to jail. And so it really just depends on the county, what they want to do. The victim voice does matter, but you have to make sure you check your state laws and regulations.
Yes, definitely. So let's talk about this bullying here. I didn't get to get up there and talk when you were talking about bullying. So we're gonna talk about some adult bullying today. Bullying isn't something that only happens on playgrounds or in school hallways. Unfortunately, it is a behavior that can persist in adulthood and takes on different forms, affecting individuals in various settings. Understanding adult bullying is critical to address the issue and create a more inclusive, respectful society. First, let's define what the adult bullying entails. It refers to the repeated aggressive behavior aimed at asserting power and dominance over another person, causing them emotional distress or harm. Unlike childhood bullying, which is often involves physical intimidation, adult bullying is predominantly psychological and takes place within workplaces, social circles, online platforms, and even within families. Adult bullies may exhibit behaviors such as spreading malicious rumors, belittling others' achievements or ideas, and excluding individuals from social activities or professional opportunities, or even resorting to cyberbullying through online harassment. Underlying motives for adult bullying can vary from personal insecurities. I think you mentioned that earlier, didn't you, Kim? And a desire for control to jealousy. I think you said that as well. And resentment. I think you guys will be surprised to hear this, but statistics indicate that adult bullying is more prevalent than we might realize. A survey conducted by the Workplace Bullying Institute found that 65 million Americans have experienced workplace bullying at some point in their careers. This is a staggering number that highlights the pervasive nature of this issue and emphasizes the greater awareness, greater need for awareness and interventions. Um, the consequences of adult bullying can be severe for both the target individual and for the overall well being of a community. Victims may experience anxiety, depression, decrease in self esteem, difficulty concentrating at work, um, and have physical health issues like headaches, sleep disturbances, and things like that. Um, more Even more important, environments tainted by bullying impedes collaboration and stifles creativity and productivity while fostering an atmosphere of fear rather than one of growth. So, I don't know if you guys know or not, but there is more than one form of bullying. When it comes to adult bullying, there are various forms that it can take. And it's important to recognize and understand the different types in order to address the issue effectively. So here are some of them. Verbal bullying. This type of bullying involves using words or language to belittle, insult, or demean another person. It may include name calling, spreading rumors, making derogatory comments, or engaging in consistent criticism. Verbal bullies often use their words as weapons to manipulate and control others. Social bullying, also known as relational bullying. This form targets a person's social connections and relationships. Social bullies aim to isolate their target by spreading gossip, excluding them from social activities or groups, or manipulating others into turning against them. They strive on creating conflicts and disrupting interpersonal dynamics. Cyberbullying. With the rise of technology and social media platforms, cyberbullying has become increasingly prevalent among adults as well as young people. It involves using digital means such as online harassment, sending malicious messages or emails, or sharing embarrassing content without consent, or impersonating someone else online. Um, you can also experience workplace bullying. Unfortunately, bullying doesn't just always end after high school. It could persist in professional settings too. Workplace bullying refers to the repetitive mistreatment by colleagues or superiors that create a hostile work environment for the victim. This can include verbal abuse, humiliation in front of coworkers, sabotage of work tasks or projects, and exclusion from meetings or opportunities for growth. And then we have physical bullying. While physical aggression is more commonly associated with childhood bullying instances, it can occur among adults in certain situations. Physical bullying entails any form of violence directed towards another person, such as pushing, hitting, slapping, fighting physically, or intimidating gestures meant to harm the individual physically or emotionally. It is worth noting that these type of adult bullying are not mutually exclusive. They can overlap or coexist in various situations. By being aware of these different forms, we can better identify and address adult bullying, creating a safer and more res, respectful environment for everyone. Um, Recognizing the signs of adult bullying. Here are a few indicators that may suggest someone is experiencing adult bullying. Verbal abuse. Adult bullies often engage in persistent verbal attacks, belittling their targets with insults or derogatory remarks. They may use sarcasm or make snide comments to undermine the confidence and self esteem of a person that they are targeting. Exclusion and isolation. Another sign of adult bullying is when individuals intentionally exclude someone from social activities or group settings. They might spread rumors, manipulate situations, or create an environment where the person feels isolated and ignored. And then they can undermine your achievements, the use of intimidation tactics. Physical intimidations is less common among adults, as I said, in some cases. But adult bullies resort to psychological tactics like threats, blackmail, and consistently undermining someone's authority or credibility. And then you have cyberbullying. Um, the effects of adult bullying on your mental health can cause emotional distress, increased anxiety, like I said, social isolation, impaired work performance, and long term psychological effects. So, how do we deal with adult bullies? You want to set clear boundaries. Establishing clear boundaries is critical when dealing with adult bullies. Clearly communicate what behavior is unacceptable and let them know how their actions impact you. Be firm but assertive and don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Number two, seek support. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or colleagues, and they can provide you with emotional support during this difficult time. Having a strong support system can make a world of difference in helping you cope with the bullying. If you don't have friends or family members or colleagues that are very supportive, you can also typically reach out to a domestic violence and sexual violence organization. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm just saying domestic and sexual violence organizations. Many years ago, it used to be just domestic violence, but in most cases, a lot of safe houses and things are both a dual domestic violence as well as rape crisis center now. or at
Right.
least
I
they
noticed
should.
they handle things under one roof now. I do notice that now. It used to just be allocated for domestic violence, but now it is dual, like you said.
So, and then you want to document the incidents. Keep a records of the incidents of bullying, including dates, times, location, descriptions of what occurred. This documentation can be useful if you decide to report the bullying or seek legal action in the future. And then this is important even if you're not being bullied. Practice self care. Taking care of your physical and emotional well being is essential with dealing with adult bullies. Engage in activities that bring you joy and help alleviate stress, such as exercise, practicing mindfulness techniques, and pursuing hobbies. And then, of course, the last but not least, if they won't stop, consider professional help. If the bully persists or escalates despite your efforts to address it on your own, consider seeking assistance from a therapist or a counselor or someone who specializes in conflict resolution. And then, of course, you can certainly go the legal route. People
Right.
don't realize that you can get a protection order from someone that is bullying you.
You sure can. You sure can. That is a fact, and that's what I was saying earlier. Anti-violence. Um, for me, you're not gonna trick me out my spot. I've worked too hard to get to where I'm at. You're not gonna trick me out my spot. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. I'm just gonna put them people in your life. After for the people that is being cyberbullied, let me give you guys some legal advice. This goes for the cell phone as well. If you ask someone to leave you alone, do not contact you again, do not mention you, and they do it 4 times, do not reply, respond, or anything. If they continue to contact you, harass you 4 times, they have now committed a crime. You are to report it to your local law enforcement and they will be picked up because that is considered cyberbullying. In some states, it is a felony offense. So,
And you might want to check your states, your actual
mhm,
states, Ohio revised codes, because I know here with behavior like that, in the law it says a course of conduct. In my field, we say pattern of behavior. It's the same thing. If they have two patterns of harassment or cyberbullying, they could be charged.
correct. So different states, I know here it's 4 times. Your state, as anti-violence said, it may be two of a pattern behavior. But each state has different laws. But you are to just document, don't say a word, and prosecute. Once you start prosecuting these bullies, the other ones will take notice and say, wait a minute, this person here went to jail. Let me shut my mouth up. It has to start being consequences for the behavior. Cyberbullying is never okay. And that is what we're seeing deep in these YouTube streets, Facebook, whatever social media outlet is cyberbullying. And then also victimizing. You are trying to make someone ashamed for what they may have went through, what they're going through, trying to shame people and all of that. You have to look within yourself and ask yourself, why are you partaking in that type of behavior? And my statement that I like to use is hurt people hurt people. And then another point I want to add as well is when you have went through something, whether it's abuse, domestic violence, sexual abuse, it is unhealthy for you to put yourself in an environment that is going to cause you to be triggered. I'll say that again. Do not put yourself in an environment that is going to cause you to relive whatever you're trying to overcome. It is unhealthy.
Yes, and I like I said, I love Fee, and I told her, but there's just some lives that I pop in and I gotta pop back out. Cause all this for me, learning what healthy, I don't think. I know I could say I didn't. And even all the presentations that I've been to, even older adults, who was really taught what a healthy and unhealthy relationship looked like, whether it be intimate partners, whether it be with your family and things like that. And so I just know that a lot of what I see on social media, especially YouTube, is a whole lot of unhealthy, borderline abusive behavior as well as dysfunction, and I just can't participate in that. Like, when did it become like a lot of y'all don't realize that calling people names is verbal abuse?
It is. It is. Calling someone names, degrading them, it's victim shaming as well. If you talking about someone, just say someone got hit by a car in your family and you're talking about it, and you aha, they shouldn't have been in the street. You're victim shaming someone. That's not okay. Or if they was abused, as if the story was said about Felicia, she shouldn't have had on whatever that pedophile said, was not okay. And at a certain point, the line needs to be drawn in the sand. And stay off Google, getting certain advice, as anti-violence said, uh, especially if you're not in the medical field and you don't know what you're talking about. Also, you have to be accountable for your actions. And so for me, I will use my platform to bring awareness to domestic violence abusers, abused and abusers. We're going to say their name on my platform. Also, I want to give you guys the medical terminology for some of these things that you're going through. But on my platform, it's never okay to down talk someone, victim shame, or anything. But it's time to draw the line in the sand for the behavior. And as I stated, I am not the one to be bullied because I'm not going to let you trick me out of my spot. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm just going to get the proper authorities in your life. It's just simple
I'm
as
the
that.
same. I'm the same way, Kim. Like, I've come too far in my life, and honey, I got too much to lose. Listen, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you on no YouTube and nothing else. Cause trust me, I know my rights, and I also know what domestic violence is. Domestic violence, it does not just include um physical abuse. It
Right.
includes verbal abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse. Like like you can't lie to me or spin false narratives with me, because I've spent years in being trained in what constitutes domestic violence and what constitutes sexual violence. And let me just say this: your freedom of speech does not give you the right to bully and cyberbully people on the internet.
It does not.
And I'm like Kim. I'm not gonna let you trick me out of my bag. I'm the kind of person that will just be sitting back documenting it. And when I get enough information, I'm just gonna hit you where it hurts in the court system. That's just, I'm gonna do it
Exactly.
the legal way. I'm
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
build my
sit up.
case and then it's gonna be bye bye and on to the next. And so I'm gonna make an example out of you. If you want to play, let's play. But I'm gonna do it the legal way because again, I've worked too hard for my position, and you're not gonna trick me out of my spot. And I'm not gonna go back and forth. I'm not gonna raise my blood pressure. I'm gonna keep it classy, never trashy. But I'm gonna hit you where it hurt, and that's what a lot of people can't do jail time. You be behind these keyboards like you big gangster, but you ain't gonna be able to do no jail time. And that's why I've never been to jail, because I'm one that cannot do jail time. And so, with that being said, you gangster until it come time for you to put your hands behind your back. Also, I don't play with defaming my character. All of my accolades is public record, honey, and do not defame me because my lawyers stay ready. And so You can't play with these bullies. You have to let them know where you stand, who you are, and what you stand for. And so for me, I'm all about empowerment, lifting women and men up. Our kings need lifting and prayed for too. I'm all about helping a person to better them. But what you're not gonna do, I'm not gonna go back and forth. I'm not gonna play those games. You going to jail. Period. Playing with me. The bullying must stop. If I see it, I'm reporting your page. I'm going to turn you in. I'm gonna let the person know that you're trying to bully their rights on how to get you on off this here internet with the buffoonery. Especially if you it's not enough productivity in the day to be on all day bashing someone. I don't know how you guys find the time in the day to do that. Between having a 7 year old, a puppy, a career, I run three businesses. I don't have the time in the day to be on Beyonce's internet or these YouTube streets bashing anyone, and then I don't have the heart for it. I see too many people hurt and broken. And it's God has called me to help the broken, help them to find their light again. And that's what I love. That's my therapy throughout everything I've been through, to help someone find their light again. And so you most certainly can't find your light if you keep indulging in the darkness. So for anyone that is trying to overcome something, you want to seek out a light source and stay there. Indulging in the darkness is only going to re-victimize yourself. Get out. Sometimes we got to get out our own way.
Listen, I agree with you 100%, Kim. Listen, I have a code of ethics um, in victim advocacy that I am required to adhere to all state and federal laws. And so, yeah, no, I'm not letting nobody trick me out of my bag.
Mm-mm. You when you work too hard anti-violence for your position and where you at, and you have a gift, and you like helping people. Yes, do they even shop? That's my point. You on all day bashing people. We just can't do that. Ethically, I couldn't do that. My natural instinct is to ask someone, what can I do to assist you to feel better? What can I do to make your day better? I'm always sending prayers, always sending light, always sending love. And so the world will become a better place if more people also mind the business that keeps them. Sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around somebody else's. What is going on in your closet? Because we all got skeletons.
And then here's the thing, this is a question that you could really ask yourself. Where is your mind frame that you gonna sit up 24 hours a day? The first thing in the morning, early in the morning, you think about hitting that live button and getting on YouTube to bash somebody.
Mental illness. Mental illness is real. I've sat in several bushes and listened, and I've evaluated um, some people and said, my God, it's some medication needed, it's some intervention needed. Everyone shouldn't get a platform. It needs to be some regulations on that, because we have a lot of sick people on the internet. Um, that is creating these platforms to victimize people and to be bullies because they're suffering from the inside themselves. If you listen to them, it's a lot of hurt people. And
Kim,
then
I can't do it. I can't. Some
Mhm.
people, I'm not gonna lie, I go in they live and I see what they talk about, and I have to jump out because even being a survivor on the coming out on the end of my healing, where I'm able to help others and that be my passion. Like neurologically, it bothers me to sit up and constantly hear people doing that to people, doing that to other people, knowing I don't care what you say, you can try to spin it however you want to spin it, but the way that you are going about doing things is considered abusive.
And see, that's what I do. I go in and listen, and I get your character. Character matters to me. When I listen to you and I hear that you on some foolery, I can't associate myself with that because my brand is important to me. And everyone knows I'm going to show love, empowerment. I'm going to try to fix your crown. And if I'm unable to, I'm going to point you in a direction to someone that can. Um, I don't associate with myself with people that hurt people. And so when I listen and I see that you're on that type of time, I immediately disassociate myself. That's why I was never part of the saga. I couldn't be part of whatever the saga, the next saga, or the other saga, because uh, it was just too much toxicity for me. And I can't affiliate myself with that because, again, we're all trying to overcome something. And with me, with the recent domestic violence, overcoming that, overcoming the anger, the frustration, I can't affiliate myself with something that's going to cause me a trigger, that's going to make me go back to that frustration, that hatred, that pain. So when I hear it, I come in and I come out as well, like you do, anti-violent. I'm like, oh, this one of them I can't partake in, because you have to protect your mental health as well. And that doesn't mean you hate the person. It just mean at this point in time you on some other kind of ish, and I can't be a part of it. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just does something to me neurologically. You know what I'm saying? To continue to hear the back and forth. And like I said, with me wanting to pursue master's graduate school this summer to become a licensed social worker, so that I can counsel domestic and sexual violence, like it just being in the field that I am, like I have to I have to steer clear of anything that could be considered immoral behavior.
Exactly. When you go to graduate school, do you plan to work for the state or you plan to open up your own facility? I work for the state because when you go, you're required to have a certain amount of hours. So
Well, right now, I currently work for a nonprofit now, and so they are really looking forward to for me because they like, yeah, we want you to be able to counsel, get in the clinical side of things, and so I have really great benefits there. Um, they really promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as promoting. Supporting more African American survivors. And so that is what my grant is specifically for, increasing the support services that we provide to African Americans and people of color. And so I'm probably going to stay there. So when I go to do my internship, I would actually be able to use my work hours there and my direct service hours as my internship hours. So I do plan on at this time staying at my nonprofit, because I don't know if you know or not, if you work in public service for 10 years at a nonprofit organization like I work at, then you could get student loan forgiveness.
you can, and I was able to get my undergrad forgave. But when I got my master, they was like, I was hoping Biden before he left out. I was hoping that disappeared too, but I'm lucky and grateful to have my undergrad ones disappear.
And so the reason why I say for summer is because I'm also trying to apply for a lot of different grants and stuff, because my undergraduate isn't in social work. I will have to go to school 2 years for my master's in social work. And so, but there is a lot of grants and opportunities they have out there for African Americans to go to graduate school for social work and go into the behavioral health field because they just do not have enough African Americans that is choosing that profession.
That is correct, and a lot of times it's because it's so time consuming. And then in a lot of states, they're very underpaid. And I know when I worked for the state, and we would go out, um, we weren't allowed to carry weapons, and going into some of these type of environments that we were going in, when you're removing people kids, they get a little hostile.
Hmm.
And then when you're happen to go in and talk, and so the lack of resources and also the pay is one of the contributing factors to why um, that is so. Also, the amount of schooling you got to go to. You got to do 4 years. I mean, when you go to med school is not no joke. And you right, you absolutely cannot associate yourself with any type of foolish behavior because it's going to be a distraction. You have to have your mind on your business and your business on your mind in order to get through, because it's going to be tough. You already have your life expectancies that you have to do. You definitely cannot go through dealing with any foolishness. But I definitely want to get your information, anti-violence. I really appreciate you guys, you coming up. I appreciate you guys joining too. I do this every week. This is just the first time I've had it based only on YouTube. I usually go live on Facebook as well. Facebook has been suppressing my content because we have over 27,000 followers on Facebook, and they're trying to make me pay for ads and all of that stuff. So I said, I tell you what, I can just take it just on YouTube. I need to build my YouTube platform up anyway. No, some people say that there is something wrong with them. Brittany, what state are you in? Brittany, anti-violence is facing a lot of harassment and bullying at work. What state are you in?
If you, I can look up the domestic violence and sexual violence shelter there. Like I said, we don't just deal with people don't know that we don't just deal with domestic and sexual violence. We deal with child abuse, sexual trafficking, um, stalking, and stalking and harassment, anything that can be considered abuse. Sorry, y'all. Riley, be quiet. My dog, let me get up and move. I just took you out. But I just helped a lady get a menacing by stalking protection order from somebody that used to be her friend that was now harassing her. And the text messages was determined that yes, by law, she was committing menacing by stalking. So I will send you that info. If she gets her state, I can look that information up.
She's in St. Louis, Missouri.
And then I also the one is Georgia and the other one is St. Louis, Missouri. And then
Uh-huh.
I also I my contact information. I'll send you that information from my work email. And so it has my email in it, and it also has my direct telephone number. Like I said, I trust in giving you your information, and it's not that I don't want your audience to have my information, but just the level of dangerous people that I deal with and the stuff that I really been seeing going on the internet and how people have been harassing people and doxing people and stuff. I don't even want to put myself in that position because, like I said, I won't be tricked out my bag. And I am one of them people that will call the police on you and prosecute you to the
Absolutely.
fullest extent
Absolutely.
of the
And I don't
law.
blame you. Protect your identity because you deal with a lot of women that you have to help go underground. They don't that'll go over a lot of people's heads, but you definitely have to protect your identity. So I definitely not gonna share your information as well. I had to say, and I usually just go by Kim, but I had some people that contacted me with the buffoonery. So I had to let them know to put some respect on my name, because I ain't playing with you. And as I stated, I'm not gonna let you trick me out my bag. You go to jail. This ain't Monopoly, so you don't pass go and collect $200. You go straight to jail playing with me. Uh, I'm not gonna play. Um, and so I will be doing this every week. I'll be reaching out to you, anti-violence, to see when you are available. I know I have a couple of women that just inboxed me, wanting me to do the show. I did a show called Voice of the Voiceless, where a few people came up and told their story of abuse. So if you guys know someone that want to come and tell their story like the young lady Shamiko did today, please let me know. That show I did 3 people. One of them I narrated his show. He's a successful cardiologist, but he also was abused by his mother. He was sexually abused by his mother. Um, and so I definitely appreciate you guys trusting my platform to speak your truth, to get the information that you need, because that's what we're here for. That's what we signed up for, what we do, what anti-violence do, what I do, to teach people and to help people, motivate people, and get people to the healthiest as they can be. A lot of people use their platform to fuss, fight, and argue, but that is not what fixing your crowns is all about. Um, she said the girl got fired, so she's not there, and the guy still works there. When I reported him again, he got the message. Okay, good, because I was just about to say it's time to take it to HR. If wasn't nothing done, it was time to go ahead on and take it to HR. Hey, Alexis, thank you for joining, love. But yeah, it was time to take it to HR. But anti-violence is gonna get you some resources just in case it happens again, on who you can reach out to. But as I stated, you guys, thank you guys for coming in, sharing, listening, being there. I will be doing it again. Every week. It will be weekly. I'll make sure that it's only on YouTube, because I'm not gonna be fooling with Facebook and they buffoolery. But again, if you guys see someone that is being bullied, as me and anti-violence talk about, bully, victimized, their story being laughed and heckled about, report them immediately. Report them. It's time for the bullies to start going to jail. Jail will then impact other people, and they will stop some of this foolishness that's going on in this Facebook streets. And if you are someone that is supporting someone that is bullying, victimizing anybody, not just Felicia, anybody, whether it's male or female, it's not okay. And you need to look within yourself and see why you're supporting that type of behavior. If you guys have a YouTube channel, I want to make sure I support you guys too. I think I'm following all of you guys that's in my chat. But if I am not, please inbox me so I can make sure that I'm supporting you guys as well. So I'm gonna get ready to go to bed. My ears starting to ache a little bit. I really appreciate you guys joining. It has been great. Anti-violence. Please make sure you send me your information so I can check your availability, because I definitely want you to be expertise on some of the topics that we will be covering. I have an idea for another one. I'm going to talk to you about it, anti-violence, so you can get all of your information together for the next live. I will be sending it to you. I think it's very important. This particular topic that has not been touched, I think a lot of people will also come out with their story. So you guys be blessed. Thank you for joining Fixing Your Crown with Dr. Kimberly Wilson. We will be back next week, next Friday. Anti-violence, let me know if you're available that Friday or that Saturday, and we will be back to do it again with another great topic with some medical information as well. You guys have a very blessed night. Y'all stay safe and don't let nobody trick you out your spot. Y'all stay blessed and see you guys soon. Good night. Bye.